Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Douding Thomas Monthly Recap. I am your host, Adam Dowd, and joining me is the man with the most excellent headwear, Clifton M. Thomas. How you doing, Cliff?
I'm doing great now that I'm wearing this hat repping the merchandise. Yeah.
That is an amazing hat. I just want to say
it's a handsome man on the logo there.
It is. Although he's got two black stripes going down his beard. You're gonna have to alter the graphics so that I look like TK Bay, and then we're gonna get sued for copyright infringement. It's gonna be great. So, anyway, Cliff, how you doing these days?
Doing great. I'm a little scared. I found out that I have to have a root canal.
Oh,
and it would have been fine. Yeah, here's the reality of dentistry right now, and I was actually told this by the dentist's wife, who was also like their sort of desk person and all that.
Sure.
Well, so I found out that I have to have a root canal.
Exploitation starts at home.
I don't know what that reference, but all right.
That's from the rules of acquisition.
Oh. Okay.
The Ferengi rules of acquisition.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm not judging you, but Fisher would have understood.
Big DS9 fan I am, but I'd forgotten about all that. There's how many rules of acquisition? Like 500 and something of them.
I think the top one was like 200. Like last count I heard was like 230 or something.
There's a lot.
That. Oh yeah.
So apparently it's just there's a lot of. She said that dentistry is booming right now. I don't know why.
Because we've all been sitting around our fat asses eating sweets all for the last year.
It's honestly kind of what I was thinking. So I waited 3 weeks to get this appointment, only to find out that they need, because of it's a molar, they're referring me to someone else, and then
they have specialists for that.
Well, they can actually do root canals where I was, but they prefer to do the, I guess because of where it's located. They were a referral anyway.
Molars are a special thing because they have more roots. Yeah.
I'm learning things all the time.
If you've been watching my videos, you'll understand why I know that. But anyway,
and that appointment is not until the end of June, basically.
So
I gotta wait.
Wow.
And then I have to come back and get a crown.
Yeah. The good news is it's only going to hurt for a couple of days, and then the nerve dies, and then you're good.
It's already dead.
Okay, well, yeah, so then you're good.
He was looking at my mouth, and he said necrosis, and I went ripper because I recognize that's like the Latin root for death. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah. So anyway, so I asked my doctor how long I have to live, and he said 5. And I said, 5 what? 5 days, 5 weeks? And he said 4, 3, 2. Anyway, that's from Deadpool.
Stop doing it.
That's from Deadpool.
Anyway, right.
So I'm trying to shrug off a little bit of disappointment because I was, you remember in the tech beer room, I was telling you and Ryan I wanted to make my own desk, like resurface my desk.
Yes.
And so I did that, but I went to go get the sheet of Luan that I was going to resurface my desk with, and it's like $50 a freaking sheet now. Like, there's a major wood shortage going on, and like it's crazy, dude. So like I've got this like half partially finished like one little piece of crap thing over here, and then like the rest of my desk is just the normal thing. So anyway, none of this is going to end up in the high quality version. It's important that you know that.
So I was talking to Cameron Summerson, who's like, I guess you could call a friend of the show, or Twitter, internet tech guy friend.
He holds the distinction of being one of the few editors who's ever fired me. No hard feelings. We just run on the same wavelength. Totally get it. It's fine. Anyway,
so I was helping them out with getting some images over regarding the Wise Watch, which we should have a review with coming soon.
Yeah.
And one of the things I sent him was a like the step down in the notifications, so it shows what it is. And the notification happened to be where my wife had texted me and said, "We can sell the leftover wood for," and so he's like, "What is that all about?" And it's because we just finished our backyard fence, and I think just the wood for like a quarter acre was around $4,000.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
just the wood.
Just
wow.
The wood. Yeah. So Carl said we could sell the leftover wood and be wood millionaires.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's ridiculous right now. I don't supposedly know all the wood comes from Canada, so I don't know if it's like I don't want to say the word infrastructure thing. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah, I don't know.
as far as getting the like distributing it, I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but it is.
Yeah,
Maybe I should be a wood speculator. Speaking of
maybe you should. Maybe you
wood
should.
futures, commodities.
We might be missing our our calling here by not.
I'm gonna start a wood commodities podcast.
Yeah, you could
investing in wood.
Yeah, we could call it Wood 101.
I was trying to think of something that like tied in a benefit of the doubt, but there's no wood that rhymes with doubt.
No, benefit of the wow. No, I don't know. This is none of this. Not a goddamn word. Not a word of this is ended up in the high quote. Hello and welcome to the benefit. Oh, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, like we really should dive in because we're 10 minutes of nothing here so far. So anyway, we've had a month. It's been an interesting month. We started off with, well, actually just last week, you and I had our dueling Lenovo's breakdown, which was fun. And let's see, what else did we do this? Yep. We had the Thinkpad Fold review was at the beginning of this month, if you can believe that. That seems like so long ago, to be honest.
We say that every time we do this podcast. I can't believe the month has gone by so fast.
It's May. It's May of 2021. Mm-hmm. Can you believe that? That's crazy.
Oh, I know. It's like 90 degrees in my office right now. I can do that, May.
Anyway, so we also had farewell to LG because that happened this month, even though it seems like 6 years ago. And then we had our photo. You're pouring one out. We had our photo showdown of the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra and the iPhone 12 Pro, otherwise known as the video that almost made me cry. And then, last week we had the dueling Lenovo's. And then actually this week, which is technically bleeding into May, but we're going to talk about it anyway since the show's going on hiatus after this next episode coming up anyway, which will have been the previous episode by the time anybody listens to this. Anyways, it's all complicated. But we're going to have our full review of the Samsung Galaxy Fold, which is Z Fold 2, I should say, if I want to give it the proper naming terminology. But I mean, honestly, everybody just calls it the Fold. So,
Is it Z Fold 2 5G, or do they just take that out?
I don't even care. Honestly, like any phone that puts 5G at the end of their phone name, I do not say it. I never will say it. Because honestly, like every phone has 5G these days. So, and it's fine. You don't need to point it out. We get it. But anyway, so let's start off with we've got a folding theme going on here and a Lenovo theme this month.
Why? Because you're shutting down the podcast for a month?
Right? No, we're not folding. Not that kind of fold, you jerk. But so let's start off with the ThinkPad Fold, which is on my table behind me. Back of there somewhere. So we did the full review of the ThinkPad Fold, and it came down to sorry, dog barking. It came down to and actually I think this podcast is just going to have a dog barking on it. It's just kind of how this is going to work. So that's fine. But anyway, it came down to this is a great laptop if you have a lot of disposable income. And that's really what it boiled down. It's not the most powerful in the world, even though it's $2,500. And the keyboard is a bit of a shortcoming, although it's not completely you can get used to it. But I started getting those double letters that Michael Fisher was talking about in his review, which got really annoying really fast. But I didn't get them until after he published his reviews. So I used the thing for a month beforehand, and everything was great. But so it was kind of cool. This month, just be living that folding lifestyle.
I'm a little this is why I haven't got a Bluetooth keyboard to use as a main keyboard, because I wonder how much of that is just latency issues, and it could be specific to that keyboard.
It could be. No, because I have used I used this Bluetooth keyboard, the K780, I believe it is. I used this one on the ThinkPad Fold because that keyboard was so terrible. But I got the double letters on that too. So it might be like something that, I mean, it could just be the way Lenovo's working with the Bluetooth protocol. But then again, I use this same keyboard on the Lenovo ThinkBook 14 that we just reviewed, and that one worked perfectly fine. So it's just some weird stuff, man. I mean, that's just we gotta try to figure that one out. But or Lenovo needs to figure that one out. But
send an email. I fixed your Bluetooth problem for you. This is what our podcast does.
Good news. I fixed it. But yeah. So I mean, like, it's an interesting idea. It's an interesting concept. It's way too expensive, and which, similar theme for the Fold review coming up. Spoiler alert. But I think just it's one of those cool things. It's one of those things that's like really cool, but also highly impractical. So, but Lenovo, of the two, between Samsung and Lenovo, I think Lenovo's got more of less of a head in the clouds, because like you can actually do stuff to this laptop, and you don't have to like put on your soft velvet gloves in order to carry it around. So like, Lenovo like not only dares you to use a stylus on this ThinkPad, but they send you one to use on it. So I mean, it's like there's no question there that screen seems to be at least more durable than the one that Samsung is shipping on its phones. So I mean, I'm not sure if that's
the chassis though that the Lenovo also comes in. I mean, it's just looks overbuilt. I mean,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's actually not all that thick. Let me grab it. Like, it's not all that thick compared to the phone. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but I mean, like, this is fairly thin, especially compared to well, okay, this has a case on it, but like, let me see if I can get the angle just right. I mean, really, it's not that much
more than
Yeah,
I guess I was thinking of comparing it to like maybe the Surface Duo, which is ridiculously thin.
Right. Yeah, the Surface Duo is totally thin. And by the way, for the people listening to this podcast, I just held up the opened Fold next to the open ThinkPad Fold, and they were not that all. The one was not all that much thicker than the other. So, but then the phone needs to have a whole lot of components in it that the laptop doesn't necessarily need, like radios and 5G antennas and stuff like that. Right. So, I mean, I'm sure that stuff probably wireless charging coils. So that stuff takes up some space, but it's just like, I mean, yeah, maybe it is over-engineered, but maybe that's what we need for folding screens until they get better or more durable.
That, definitely.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so and as long as we're talking about folding stuff, we can go ahead and transition over to the Galaxy Fold. Just because that review's coming up this weekend. I've started writing it. I don't have the full review written out just yet, but I mean, the one thing that this review is going to be different than any other review that I've done is because I'm going to spend a significant amount of time talking about using the device, because like everybody knows how to use a phone. Everybody knows how to use a laptop. This is not a new thing, but like the Fold is a transformative device, and that word is going to be in the review. It's it transforms how you go about using a phone, and I'm not entirely sure it's 100% for the better. So but like why don't we just go ahead and use this as an opportunity? What questions do you have about the Fold, if there's anything that you want to know about it, or at least something that I can include in the review, if you have any thoughts? And I'm totally ambushing you with this question, so like don't feel like
I put my thinking benefit of the doubt cap on. And the first thing I would say is I think anytime you have a tweener device like that's trying to be a lot of different things, I'm sure that there are compromises that have to be made. Mm-hmm. And so what did you find those to be versus using like a standalone tablet and a standalone phone?
Okay, so well, first of all, the major compromise that is right in your face is the cover screen on the Fold. You know, the screen that you get when it's closed, and the screen that you get when it's opened are too small to function in the way that they are presumably designed to function. So the cover screen is too small to work as a phone, and the open screen is too small to work as a tablet. Now, the caveat there is that the opened phone is huge compared to an average phone screen. So, like, if you're ready to sit there and do things two-handed, it's great. But, you know, the way we use phones these days, we generally don't do that, like sit there two-handed, or if we do, we just turn it into landscape, and you get, like, it's shorter, but it's not, it's the same width as the Fold. It's just a phone in landscape is shorter, and that's really the only major difference. So you just get less screen real estate, which, you know, is valuable for sure. You know, it's great to read a book on this thing. It's even nice for watching videos, even though most of them are letterboxed to hell. But like, you know, just in its stated purpose, both screens are actually too small to serve as what they're meant to be, which is kind of like, oh, like, you know, you think to yourself, like, yeah, that's not awesome. But, and like the other major compromise, and we were chatting about this off the air in the Slack room, you know, the question was asked, like, what do you need in order to have a $2,000 device? And like, my answer was, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like the Samsung Galaxy Fold, but with the S21 Ultra's cameras. And I think there was one other caveat in there, and I don't remember what it was.
I can't recall either. Yeah,
but
well, I think you said a large, the front screen.
Oh, a normal size cover screen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Galaxy Fold with a normal size cover screen, the S21 Ultra cameras, and yes, this is 100% a $2,000 phone. I wouldn't even question that. Like I would give an unqualified yes to that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But the cameras are compromised. I mean, not terribly, but they are compromised. They're still 12 megapixel shooters, which Samsung has shown great ability with over the last few years.
It has the same camera set as the S20 series, right? Like not the Ultra, but the standard.
I don't remember. Were all three cameras 12 megapixel shooters in the S20?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, then, yeah, in that case, it's the same camera set, which, I mean, the S20 was a great camera set. Don't get me wrong. Nothing compared to what the S21 can do, but still, like, you know, maybe I'm greedy, but I kind of want a periscope lens in there for $2,000. Right. You know,
I don't think that's asking too much. But here's a question: would you rather have a stylus, that actually has a garage, so a garage stylus, or either the larger screen or the camera set? Like,
good question.
For $2,000, all three.
Yeah, really? No, I mean, well, and that's such a very personal question because, like, you know, it comes down to the fact that I'm a parent and that you're a parent and that we want to shoot our kids we want to take photos of our children from afar. Well, maybe shoot, but we want to take photos of our kids from afar, and that's where the S21 Ultra just completely blows everything else out of the water, with the possible exception of the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. So, like, oh yeah, and you know, that's why when I send this Galaxy Fold back, you know, I've got the OnePlus 9 Pro, which I'm going to be doing the review for when we come back, when the podcast comes back. That's going to be the first story back. But like, after I'm done with that, I'm going straight back to the Ultra. You know, do not pass go, do not collect $200. I mean, it's just, there's no question. It's just that damn good. So
it's so nice to have that much power in your pocket as far as the camera is concerned. It's
it's
even
crazy.
Though there are compromises with it as well, but it is amazing.
And you know, that leads right up to the to the camera comparison. Mm-hmm. That was not entirely pleasant to create. Well, I can talk while you open your camera. While you open your thing, that's fine.
Just
I can
make it easier for you for editing.
I appreciate that, but if I'm talking and you're not talking, you can drop a bomb on your house. I don't care. But anyway, you could do that too, Rudy Giuliani. Now that might actually stay in, but anyway, that leads us nicely over to the camera comparison, because at the end of the day, that's really was the one thing that kind of stood out from like, and you know, and actually, I want to take a minute to talk about this too. I had kind of had this realization in the last week or two that when it comes to camera testing, we reviewers put ourselves in the most stupid positions to try to take photos, like to try to take sample photos, like in the worst possible conditions. Like, you know, yeah, this camera doesn't do well when it's midnight out and you're in the middle of a tornado. Like, you can't get a good selfie. Well, no, you really can't. Thanks for pointing that out. But I mean, that's the thing, is like, we want to use our cameras all the time. And the fact of the matter is it's not, ideal conditions don't exist for taking photos all the time. Like there are a lot of positions where you want to take photos and it's really not a good time to take a photo, but you want to make sure that your phone can do it. And so it's just funny, because like one of the things that I struggle with you know, photo sets and photo comparisons and stuff like that is making sure that I have enough crappy photos to show like whether or not this phone can do a good job under crappy conditions. Like, you want pictures of like broad daylight. Yeah, I got dozens of those, you know, but like for, you know, one person running towards you at dusk, yeah, I don't have a lot of those.
I think as a reviewer too, because they're, you know, camera reviews are in terms of focus about as broad as you can possibly be. I mean, there's so then as a reviewer, especially if you're an independent, like a content creator for like YouTube or something, where you can make those editorial decisions yourself, or it's not the ethos of like, you know, the whatever the site is. You know, I would think that the hardest thing for me, at least, would be just deciding, okay, what am I going to focus on? Is it the everyday just point and shoot kind of thing? Am I going to get detailed about, you know, especially if it has like a promo or something, and then what do I compare it to? And it's just that kind of stuff for me would be really hard.
Oh yeah, and you know, just deciding like, you know, what are the conditions under which, and like not only that, but like how am I going to duplicate those conditions, you know, when it's just me? Like, you know, like, hey, by the way, everybody, you know, all YouTube subscribers, get used to seeing my daughter on a trampoline, because that's going to be on basically every photo comparison. Because I mean, that's the time that you get like the action photos and like kids moving around and stuff like that. So like, just FYI, plan on that. You know what? Now that I think about it, I've got the Fold review coming up this week, and I don't know how many video samples I have. Anyway, so now, you know, now I got to go out and shoot some videos, you know, and then that's fine. Like, that's, you know, that's my job and that's what I want to do. But it's like, I realize like I put myself in the stupidest photo taking situations just to try to make sure I cover like as many different possibilities as possible. And that was one of the things that I had trouble with on that comparison with the iPhone and the S21 Ultra, was I didn't have a whole lot of like, especially like low light photos. Like I did a lot of photos inside the Shed Aquarium, you know, where my son and I visited that one day. And like, I was that guy that was holding up 4 different phones and taking, you know, individual photographs. So, and like a lot of that was low light, although that didn't necessarily come out in the photos, because those 2 cameras are very good at taking low light photos. Like, they actually looked like they were kind of like during the day. And like, I questioned myself more than once when I was looking at these photos. I'm like, man, these are awfully bright. And like, it turns out that they were just that good at making, but like the Shed Aquarium is pretty much all one big low light environment. It's a museum, so
hard to expose for too, I'm sure, for the, and this really comes down, I was thinking about this because I I haven't told you this yet, actually. So this is a reveal for everybody. I just ordered a Sony Xperia 5 Mark II.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which
Do you
you
plan
have
to hold on?
experience with?
Yes. Do you plan to hold on to it, or is it going to
Yes.
be a return?
Well, we'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I this is extending on a little bit because I purchased the monopod for the 360 camera. I thought, well, I might like to get some more use out of this, and I think I might like to start like my own like separate Instagram thing of just phone photography.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
that when I get a hold of some of these things, I can outside of and included in benefit of
Do
the
you
doubt too.
do you want to
But
borrow the benefit of a doubt Instagram feed, because I haven't been doing a whole lot over there.
that might be something.
But
I mean, honestly, right? But
yeah.
so it got me thinking though, because so much of what makes, especially at the high end, cameras good is on the software side, right? Because
Oh
it
yeah.
used to be it was, if you had the high end sensor, and then it was optical image stabilization that made a difference, especially for handheld stuff. And then once, especially once Google started getting into the whole well, there's what is it called, computational photography,
Hmm.
and now everybody else is kind of starting to catch up. Even if your camera set, you have a phone that has maybe an inferior camera set, if your software is better, at least for the handheld, just everyday shooting, you might get better exposed and usable photos, especially for like social media.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
crazy. Like I think that like just watching reviews for this, the Xperia 5 Mark II, I think I can get better photos out of that than I can out of like even an iPhone 12 Pro or the Samsung. But I'm gonna have to do some work in order to get it.
Oh yeah. It's it's
It's
it's it's a lot of work to learn like all the different various settings, and I think that
yes.
you'll and I think that you have probably the type of brain that you need in order to accurately learn all that stuff. I don't have that brain, unfortunately,
I
but
used to know it all, or at least know some of it, in order to use like an SLR in manual mode and
yeah.
compensate for all of that. But I've just, in the 20 years since I've been in school for it, I've forgotten it. So I'm going to re-educate myself. But yeah, it's just something I want to do, especially because
Yeah.
hopefully I'm going to be working from home. So anyway, hopefully that'll be coming in the next week, and maybe I'll do something for the maybe even though the it'll be we won't be putting out as much content, especially from you. Maybe I can do something for our social media feeds or something. Just
That would be
anyway,
amazing. And
yeah.
you could do like a follow-up review,
Hmm.
like here's the review that Adam should have done in the first place review. Hey, that's a valid criticism. So,
I don't know
but
about
no,
that, but
like it was a very nice phone, and I do miss that
did you send it
occasionally.
back?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, I
So
thought you had, but I just was curious.
yep. Actually, yeah, I've got a couple other devices that I need to send back in the not too distant future, but that's the life of a reviewer, so that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So the photo set I thought was good. I think the only thing that I really didn't do enough of was I didn't do a lot of like low light video, which is not ideal. Like a lot of people like to shoot video in lower light areas, but like I was focusing a lot more on photographic content for that particular showdown. So live and learn. I'll probably have to do a couple of walk and talks around dusk this week in order to get that out on the S21 Ultra. Not the S21 Ultra, the Galaxy Fold review, which by the way, I think just as a heads up to our listeners, I think this week I'm not going to, I don't think I'm going to be able to release the photo comparison or the photo video for the Fold on Sunday, just because we got a really busy weekend coming up. So that might actually come out like midweek at some point. So I might do like a ThinkBook. I found the high quality audio for the ThinkBook for the ThinkBook 14.
Nice.
I did. So I have that, and I have the voiceover that I recorded instead of the Lindsey Sterling segment. So that's going to be fun, and it's actually really funny and stupid, but that's kind of what I do. But anyway, so yeah, I think I'm going to do that for this coming weekend, and then like during the week, I'll release the photo shots of the thing. Don't get me wrong, the photo comparison isn't that hard. It's just a lot more work than like an unboxing. So yeah, I gotta
A lot more,
figure that
a lot
out.
more editing
Well, yeah, it's a lot more editing and like just kind of like syncing up the, telling the story properly, basically is what it boils down to. So I had one guy early on in the YouTube process message me and said, "Okay, yo, dude, ease up on the transitions, all right?" I'm like, "Okay, all right, that's fair, that's fair." And so anyway, but yeah, so I mean, it was a heck of a month. And the only thing that we really haven't touched on yet is the departure of LG from the mobile space, which we had friend of the show Juan Bagnell come on because like really of like all the reviewers that are out there, he was the one that was like the most genuinely like an LG fan. Like the other one, like don't get me wrong, a lot of reviewers had a lot of fond memories of LG, but like Juan was kind of like a champion of the LG smartphone experience with good reason. Like I was too. So I think it was good that we got him on to talk about.
He was the first person I thought of too. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For the same reasons. Yeah.
So what were your LG thoughts on LG leaving the smartphone space? We never really got a chance to get your feelings on it.
I think my first thoughts were probably the same as just about everyone else's in that I think just regardless of what company and if it company it is, you hate to have someone that's doing stuff like they did, leaving the space. It leaves just having less competition creates potential for companies to get complacent and for prices to rise. Especially in the North American market, where at least if you're in like China, you have a vibrant competitive space with a lot of different brands, and we just don't really have that here in North America. For there's multiple for reasons, right? And so I hate that. Now, as far as LG's brand itself, I had a chance to as use the Velvet, and I really liked that phone. I thought that the whole dual what do they call their
dual screen case?
The dual screen case, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't remember the actual brand name.
Right.
But that was a really interesting way to add something onto what otherwise is just a normal candy bar form factor. And so I think I really hate that they gave up on that, because it seemed like they were headed in a nice direction. And now I've seen some renders of what might have been the V70, and they were continuing with that design language in it.
Yeah.
But I really feel like maybe this is just me spitting in the wind here, but I feel like they shot themselves in the foot by maybe not being particularly good at or adept at marketing their devices, number one, and two, at least for hardcore people who care about things like software updates, they were so bad at that, and that stuff matters. And honestly, as much as I liked LG phones, that's why I could not recommend LG phones to people, because I think I said like 3 or 4 months ago that the Velvet I hadn't got Android 11 yet and was still really lacking on security updates. And so that, to me, like if I'm recommending a phone to my mom, I want my mom, who may not be the most conscious of like what she does on the web, what things she I doubt she does in the settings that much, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That stuff matters. Especially security updates, not so much, I guess, the OS level updates. And so I don't know that contributed much to the way their sales went the way they went. But yeah, so I'm very sad. But LG was, I think that was was the first Windows phone I ever owned. It was not Nokia. It was one that was on Sprint, actually, because I was still on that same like contract or whatever, that line from from Palm. So,
yeah.
Right. And so LG I had a lot of great experiences on multiple different platforms. And so, yeah, I'm very nostalgic about it. And like I said, I hate to see a competitor leave, and I'm really curious to see who fills in that vacuum,
that power
left
gap
by their presence.
Yeah. Well, I think TCL has a lot to say in that space.
I agree.
We saw the announcement of TCL's new 20 20, just 20, not no letters in before, just the 20 series, right?
The 20 series,
there's a 20L,
right?
yeah. So there's letters after the 20, not before the 20. So it gets so confusing.
It does.
But yeah, so we saw their announcement this month, and the TCL 25G. I think they call it the 25G, right? Because it probably has 5.
Right, yes.
It has 5G. I know that, but anyway. So the TCL
20 plus.
There's a 20L plus,
which is going to be supposedly the 20. Supposedly, it's going to be the 20S. I think in the North America.
Yeah, like abroad, I believe.
Yeah. Well, that 20. Yeah, so, exactly. So.
Anyway. Yeah, those are coming. Those are coming this summer, and there will be a folding design that is not the fold and roll. Roll and fold and roll, whatever.
Sounds like something you do when there's a fire that you were taught when you were 5 in elementary school.
Yeah, no, it's not that, but it will be a folding screen device, and I'm sure. I get the sense ultimately that the TCL folding phone that's going to come out this year is not going to be the rollable. I get the feeling it's probably going to be like a fold clone. And maybe the rollable will come like CES or something like that. Which is to say they'll show it off at CES and then like release it in the summer, just like they did with the 20 series. So, but I'm excited to see what TCL can do because you'll recall in our interview with TCL that was like almost a year ago at this point.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, they were saying that they're one of TCL's core values is not only like exceptional technology, but exceptional technology with value. So value is definitely a subjective term, but I could see TCL coming out with like a fold clone,
like $1,200, $1,000.
I was going to say for $1,000 or for $1,200. I could easily see that, with the display tech that they've got going on, their Next Vision, I believe it's called Next Vision displays,
Next Vision Plus,
and
what their new stuff is called,
and probably crappy cameras. Sorry, but
it depends on what you're talking about because I was really impressed with the camera set on the 10L.
It was okay
within what it was expected to be.
Sure,
it's a $200 phone that honestly I thought and we're talking about not low light, just talking about like just going out and just taking. Yeah, it honestly was pretty decent. It really was.
Yeah, the 10 5G or the 10 5G UW was. Oh. The camera was decent.
It was okay.
It was okay. I mean, it was nothing spectacular. Did you get a hold of that?
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay.
Honestly, so that was the thing that I didn't like about that phone was while I liked having the glass build, it just had that like how can I describe it? Have you ever gotten a phone? Actually, the Pre was kind of this way, and there's been a few others where it's like you tap on it and it feels like a Fabergé egg. Like that you get that hollowness.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of empty space in there, and it kind of makes me worry. I mean, not that it was a poorly built phone because it wasn't, but it just for having.
Yeah, but that design on the back was pretty hot. Like
I liked the way it looked in light. Sure.
Yeah.
And I loved. This is one thing I don't know if I'm sad that it's going away, but I really loved the 10 series generation having it almost looked like the S10. Series from Samsung where it had the phone the cameras going across, and especially the way the Pro had them embedded in the back, so there was no camera hump. It was distinctive. It was distinctive. And this year it looks like they're more in just your standard vertical camera pod. So I don't know if the design, but yeah. So going back to the main point, I really feel like if TCL has the potential to fill in some of the space left by LG leaving the market for sure. And man, especially with their display tech, they really it's one of those phones that because a lot of times, even if the reps don't push it, it's one of those phones you might see as a general consumer or whatever, going into your carrier store and you're like, ooh, that display looks good. It's
don't you mean an average consumer?
Average consumer? No. Yes, I do.
Yeah, no. So I don't mean that.
So yeah, I'm so tired of that whole
meme.
yeah, exactly. But yeah. So hopefully we'll see some. Hopefully this new line of products, hopefully we'll be receiving review units for. because I'm excited to see what TCL has brought to the table in person again, because I love what they did last year, especially with the Fold. Yeah. Ah.
I was waiting for you to look up. So I was holding the wing up to my camera because I could.
I hate to say it, but I was before I ordered the Sony, I was looking at wings. Just
You did not. Actually, what was the fire sale down to?
they're still around like that $800, $700 range.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Right.
There's one. They are. I mean, I expect it to be within, a month or so before we'll start seeing those, because they didn't sell it unlocked in the U.S.
Yeah, true.
So it's going to be from the carriers. Now, my goodness, you can get especially from like Swappa, you can get a like mint condition velvet for like $250, $300, which
Really?
that's a super, because I think the story of 2020 and maybe early 2021 that we didn't really talk about is how good the 765 was in like mid-range phones.
Oh yeah,
80% of the experience of most if you want to call them flagship phones,
we
for a very good value.
I think we might have mentioned this, or maybe I mentioned it like on one of the regular podcasts, but like 2020 and even 2019 to a certain extent was the year where you really had to try to buy a bad phone.
Yes,
like if you wanted to get a bad phone, you had to really, really work at it, because it's like most of the phones that came out in 2020, maybe not so much 2019. I think this is 2020. But like most of the phones that came out, you're just like, wow, yeah, that's got some stuff. Like even the blue G90 Pro that I reviewed last fall, like it was mostly like, it was a good phone for what it was, which they pitched it as a gaming phone, and so like so like, but even like the camera was terrible and there was no NFC, I don't think, but like for what it was actually kind of a decent phone. So like, if 2020 had any positive attached to it at all, it was really like the year that you couldn't buy a bad phone.
I agree with that completely. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Sorry, I'm being distracted by dogs barking in the background.
Why do you think I was talking for so long just now? I tried to carry it, and I was like thinking like, oh, I think the dogs are done barking, so I can stop talking now. And then like right after I was on,
hold on a second, I'll be right back.
You're the one that bought a hound dog. You dork. Shut up! You dumb animals! You're about one bark away from being a Craigslist ad! Oh, it's a good thing nobody showed up to watch this. I don't even know what I'm doing there. Just sitting here, waiting for the Cliff to come back. Waiting for the Cliff to return to his seat. Waiting for Cliff to come and sit back down and restart talking back to me. This is bad radio, but there's nobody watching, so it's okay. Did you get shot when you went off camera, or what happened there? Hello? Billy? This is live. Just so you know. No. Not talking to you. Talking to Cliff. Except Cliff's not there. So I was just like talking to myself. Talking to myself.
Talking to myself.
I'll send you the audio of all that, by the way.
All right.
So let me just wrap up here. So I really think that, that's why I called, like the year 2020 was the year that you could not buy a bad phone. And it's pretty awesome. But yeah, the 765 was a very big reason for that.
Absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned very quickly, the 10. Oh, what was the one? Oh, the UW. That was what, $399? I don't know how they make money on it. I honestly don't. It's such a good phone for very very well priced. And honestly, the same thing for I had the 765 in the Pixel 4G. Oh, I'm sorry, the Pixel 4a 5G.
5G.
All these
names.
Really snappy. Honestly, it feels as fast as my Pixel 4 XL did. So anyway,
and I told you earlier today, I'm very much looking forward to the Pixel 5a when it comes out. So
it's I don't understand what's going on with that phone.
What do you mean?
Well, so
like the fact that it got canceled and then uncanceled and then confirmed.
The chassis from the renders looks exactly the same as the 4A and the 5Gs, or the 4A 5G. Like what are they changing? Like what?
Maybe
I know
nothing.
It's going to be a good phone. I just there's nothing to differentiate it.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually haven't checked out those renders because, as you know, renders are rumors plus Photoshop. So, and like, man, last week, we had so much space news last week, and it was mainly because like all the news last week was like, we got a render, we've got a rumor of a render that's coming out. It's just like, I'm like, would you give me something to freaking work with? Oh, Ingenuity flew. Great, let's do that.
Oh,
and like,
awesome.
Yeah. And then it was like, and not to mention I got to make the Apple down to earth joke, so that was fun. But anyway, yeah. So it was, there was a lot of space news last week, and like Ingenuity is flying around, like it's zipping around these days. I don't know if you saw the latest one, but
it is amazing to me that they can get that quality.
Right?
That quality of video
from Mars.
Yes.
They're getting that video from Mars, just in case.
Speaking of ultra wideband, no,
right? No, but it's like, and it's funny because it looks like Utah, but it's from Mars.
It looks like Utah with instead of having the blue sky, just or a cloudy day and a fire, something like that. And then on top of that, we had the news that Elon Musk is going to be hosting Saturday Night Live.
I should tune into that. I don't know if I will or not because Saturday Night Live is kind of dreadful, but I might want to see like what's up with that because
I think it's gonna be so bad that it's good, like cringeworthy, bad good.
Yeah.
Typically when they have like the sports host or they write stuff that's too, even if it's self-effacing humor, that kind of stuff. I mean,
oh yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting, but yeah, I just. And also you just saw that. Did you see that SpaceX, which is an Elon Musk fronted company, got the contract from NASA to? Yeah,
that was on the podcast last week.
Guess I should listen to that.
Yeah, probably one of these days. So no pressure.
I've listened to about 25, 30 minutes of it.
Okay.
I got
a long
to the whatever.
To the interview with us?
No.
Tech yeah.
To the tech yeah. There we go.
Yeah, well, that's short. What did I do for tech? Oh yeah, the Intelli thing.
Yeah,
the Intelli thing.
The power.
So yeah. So speaking of which, before we get too far, before we forget, because I might forget, let's be honest. But we have some patron shout-outs that are needed. So we need now. None of these patrons are going to be charged for the month of May because I'm a jerk and I'm shutting the podcast down for a month. But no, we have patron shout-outs from you, Cliff, because for some reason you're still paying me. And
great hats that no one else has.
Yes, that's right. That's a unique item. Remind me to sign that next time I pass through. But we've got Zachary Palmer, we've got Josh Stone, we've got Michael Keeper, we've Kepper, sorry. We've got Johan Bresky. We've got Neil Wilson. We have Scott Brady. I believe he was a new one. He went up to 5 this month, or maybe no, I might be thinking of somebody else. Somebody went up to 5 this month, so yay. And then we've got Mike Hahn, and we have a new patron who not only gets a shout out because he's a new patron, but also because he's a $5 patron. We have Mr. Andrew Wallace, aka Fat Produce. So
Ooh.
yeah. So we've got, so that's why I said his name twice, because he's a new patron and because he gets the because
time.
Yeah. So next month it's just going to be Fat Produce. So I'm sorry, but that's just how that works. But yeah, I think I covered everybody in that list. It's funny, like I pull up the list as I'm introing up the things. So, but yeah. So good times for all. Someone, man, now I'm curious. Hang on. Well, I thought it was Josh Stone, but again, this probably won't make it into the. Yeah, Josh Stone. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, so that was fun. Love all my patrons, and none of you will be charged for this month. You get this one for free, because I think all we're going to have is Douding Thomas and a Beyond a Doud this month. So yeah, let's actually kind of finish on that note. So this coming week is going to be the last episode, and I'm debating whether I should call that season 1 and like start up with a season 2, just so I can make it sound like I have a fancier podcast because I've had 2 seasons. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll do that, but then I have to start back from 0, and this is like this upcoming episode is number 70. I think
perfect timing to do it then.
Well, no, except I don't think it is. I want to say it's like 71 or something like. I think the last one I just published was 70. So I can look it up. Yeah. So the last one was April 25th. That was 70. So we're gonna have 71, 72, and 73 before the end of the month. So I think maybe I'll just keep on trucking. So, but anyway, so there will be a Beyond a Doud. There will be a Beyond a Doud this month with El Jefe reviews. So we're going to talk some audio stuff. That's going to be fun. I have yet to schedule anybody for Beyond a Doud for June, because that usually will take place in May. But maybe like when June rolls around, I can just get somebody on the horn. But
wear his sunglasses.
I hope so, because I'm not letting him on unless he is. But anyway, and then like, so there will be a Beyond a Doud. There will be a Douding Thomas, which we're recording right now. Obviously, we are going to sit down and record Douding Thomas for the month of May. I'm not sure what exactly the format's going to be. I think I'm just probably going to pick up notable stories from the month, and then we'll just chat about those. Just because, like, I don't know, maybe we won't have a Douding Thomas Bay. Who knows? But yeah, I'll try to. I'm gonna keep up with the news, even though I'm like, heads down on a new job. But I'm still gonna be keeping an eye on what's going on. So maybe we can get a look at the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II next month. But yeah, and then like we'll be back at it in June, which is gonna be what's the first Sunday in June? June 6th, it looks like. So that'll be nice. I'll have a whole week to do that episode without killing myself. And that's going to be the OnePlus 9 Pro review. And then after that, I've got a couple of interviews lined up. I've got a couple of other devices to talk about. But yeah, like I said, it might be a slightly shorter show. Some weeks it might just be news. But oh yeah, that's funny. Anyway, sorry, email. But anyway, yeah. So it might be, some weeks it might just be news. We'll see. I really don't know how much of my time this new job is going to take up. So maybe it'll be great. Maybe I'll just have like all the time in the world and it'll be fine. But anyway, so that's what.
I mean, you're sort of getting into the routine, and then you sort of
and just like. Just not screwing up this job. That's what I'm focused on for the first month. After that, I can screw it up all I want, but just not the first month. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's gonna be cool. We're gonna have one Beyond a Doud, probably featuring several New Yorkers, because I'm planning on going to New York at some point this summer, just for a weekend kicks, and so I'll probably wrangle 2 or 3 people just to chat for that, just for the podcast. That way, the trip is tax deductible, and then we'll figure it out from there. But yeah, so the show will be back on June 6th, and that'll be fun for everybody. And
you have to have me on for that one
for June 6th. Oh, for the Beyond a Doubt.
Mm-hmm.
How would we? Are you coming to New York?
Oh, is this going to be a roundtable recorded locally? Because I thought Beyond the Doubts were all video.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I've got a couple months to figure it out.
Why would those iPads on a stick that you see? It'll just be a floating head on a stick.
Well, no, I mean, I could do like selfie videos. That would be fine. Like I could do like, 5 different people do like a 10-minute segment with each one of them, and it'll just be Beyond a Doubt, all of them, and I can just mix it all together because I love working on videos. Have I told you that? But anyway, so yeah, that's what's going down. That's what's going to happen, and I hope you all will, put up with my absence for a month, and we'll be back at it in June, and it'll be a rollicking good time.
Yes, it will.
So, Cliff, unless you have any other final thoughts, we can go ahead and close this baby out. So that is going to do it for this episode of the Doubting Thomas Monthly Recap for April of 2021. I don't even know dates anymore. Time has no meaning. I am fully vaccinated.
So
I'm sorry, it was.
Time has no meaning.
I know. Well, I've been saying that for months, but I'm fully vaccinated. So the next time I come at you, I'll be coming at you without a mask, even though it came at you without a mask this time anyway. But no, that's going to do it for this episode of the Doubting Thomas Monthly Recap for April of 2021. And as always, it has been a pleasure to chat with you and to chat with you, Cliff. Thank you for coming on. And I want to thank everybody else for listening and for giving us the benefit of the doubt.
That song worked out really well.
That song is so good.
Yeah.
It is so good. Man, you found a winner with that one. I just hope I'm never sued.
I shouldn't be, because it was
it's credited.
Yep.
Yeah.